Good.
Did everyone enjoy the dolphin show?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'll enjoy the penguin feed a lot more. So this area is our penguin exhibit, and my name is Tom, and helping me feed we have Bianca. And this is their second feed for the day. And what these guys are little penguin, or they're also referred to as fairy penguins, or also the little blue penguin. And they're the only penguin found in Australia. And they're found along the southern coast of Australia, from Fremantle in Western Australia, right around to parts of northern New South Wales. And there are also colonies over in New Zealand as well. And you notice that they are quite small, but yes, they are fully grown. So they do only stand about 30 centimetres tall, and they weigh on average about 1 kilogram. Unfortunately, we also get seagulls who like to join the feed as well, so we try to shoot them off as nice as possible so they don't harass the penguins too much. Sometimes it's not so easy. And so if you're wondering what we're feeding our guys, we feed them on a variety of different fish species. We've got smaller species which include smelt and anchovies. And we've got larger species of fish as well, which include your Indonesian and Australian pilchards. So just like you and I have our favourite food, some of these guys have got their preference in food which they like to eat as well. So we do try and mix it up for them so they're not just fixed on one species. Sometimes we'll even give them small bottle squid as well. And generally a healthy penguin tries to eat around about 250 grams in one day. And it might not sound like a lot, but it's actually about 1/4 of their body weight they're trying to eat every day, because they only do weigh about 1 kilogram. And the reason they need so much food is because they do quite a lot of travel out in the wild. In particularly, they've been found over 20 kilometres away from their home range, so they do travel quite vast distances in one day. You notice that the guys that are swimming in the water as well, they use their front flippers to propel themselves, and they use their tails to steer. And these guys travel at speeds of about 6 kilometres an hour, and in one breath, which is a breath hold of 30 to 60 seconds, they can dive down to depths of up to 70 metres, which is quite remarkable for such a small animal. And the reason that they're well adapted to their marine environment and why they can reach such depths is, unlike other seabirds, penguins have quite dense bones, whereas our seagull friend has hollow bones to fly. These guys have quite dense bones to allow them to sink down to those depths they need to catch their fish. And if you haven't already noticed on all our penguins, they've got tags on their flippers. So we use the tags for identification purposes. Obviously they all do look quite similar, so it can be hard to pick out individuals from time to time, but using the tags, it does make it a lot easier for us. And you notice that Bianca has a clipboard there with a list of all their names and their tag colours and numbers. And so using tags does make it a lot easier for us to pick out individuals. The different colours of the tags correspond to different years in which they were born. And also, if they have a tag on their left flipper, those ones are females, and if they have a tag on their right flipper, those ones are the males. So you guys can easily pick out which ones are males and females as well. And you can see quite a few more just come out of the burrows as well. This one here is Gloria, and she's a big fan of pilchards.
Gloria.
Not a fan of seagulls though. So also, if you're wondering, it's actually just come towards the end of their breeding season at the moment as well. So the breeding season goes from July through till March. And what happens is the females are the ones who will lay the eggs, obviously, and the males are the ones who spend all the time and effort decorating the burrow for a female. And even though the breeding season hasn't started yet, we've started adding nesting material into the exhibit. And you can see on one of the exhibits right behind me that there is Floyd, and you can see all the nesting material that he's stocked up and dragged into that burrow out the back there. So they've already been very busy making their burrows for the next breeding season, which will go from July, start again up in July and run through till March. And so, as I said, the females will choose a male, and she'll lay her eggs. How she'll choose a male is based on the quality of his nest. So she wants somewhere safe and secure for herself. So obviously you'll be spending a lot of time in there and investing a lot of energy into taking care of the eggs and the chicks if they hatch. So she'll choose a male based on the quality and security of his nest. And then once a female has laid eggs, generally both the male and the female will both take care of that egg, sitting on it for about 34 to 36 days. So out in the wild, one will be sitting on the egg and one will be out at sea catching fish, and then they'll again take turns. I'll also mention these guys are actually the most vocal of the 17 penguin species as well, and I've heard a few vocals coming along. See that there's Chablis, it's making quite a big vocal sounds there, and they actually doesn't sound like much as one, but sometimes they'll all get going together and it can be really hard to compete with them over the microphone even. And what he's doing is pretty much a display, trying to show that he's dominant over there. You can see that's a few males there. That one up the top there actually, who's shaking his flippers. Can anyone notice anything special about him at all? Something slightly different compared to the other penguins? Yes, can you see? He does have a green tag. There's a few other ones here who've got green tags on. What's special about Jules though, you'll notice that his right flipper is actually a lot shorter than his left flipper. So you notice that he's missing a bit of his right flipper. That's because he's the only penguin in this exhibit that has actually come to us from the wild. And he came to us with a badly damaged wing, and unfortunately, the vet here did try to fix his wing, but unfortunately part of it did have to be amputated. So because part of it was amputated, he was unable to be re-released back into the wild, but he's been here for almost 3 years now, and he's got himself that top burrow at the top there, so he does think he's the king in this exhibit as well, so he's doing really well. They're all really good signs that he's fitting in well here. Penguins themselves out in the wild, they actually only live on average for about 7 years. We've actually got a lot of our penguins in here that are a lot older than that. The oldest one in this exhibit being a female called Guffy, who's actually Jules' girlfriend. She is about 12 years old, just over 12 years old. So it's really remarkable to see at such a ripe old age they're still doing so well. And that's because under human care they do have a constant supply of food, there's no predators here, and they've also got constant veterinary services if ever a penguin requires it. So do you guys possibly have any questions at all about the little penguin? If you do, feel free to stick your hand up and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Yes, mate?
Do they ever go to snow and ice?
No, these penguins are actually only found, they're found along the southern coast of Australia and also New Zealand. So you'll only find these penguins on sandy beaches or building their burrows up in dunes or in rocky habitats. So you don't find these ones in Antarctica where you might find some other penguin species. Is there another hand over there, mate? What type of fish do they eat? Was that the question? So they eat a wide variety of small schooling bait fish, and we feed them the same species as those that they would find out in the wild. So they get their frogmouth pilchards, smelt, anchovies. They're out in the wild, they'll also eat small crustaceans and squid as well. So generally they will be going for small schooling bait fish, which you'll find out in the ocean. Another question up the back there. How do they stay under the water? How long do they stay under the water? So they can hold their breath for about 30 to 60 seconds, and in that breath hold they can dive down to depths of up to 70 metres. Is there any other questions at all? Another one? Or not? Alrighty guys, well Bianca and I are going to keep feeding these guys, and we do have another question. Yeah, so what they do when they're coming, they will spend their whole day out at sea, and when they do return to their nest, they return under the cover of darkness, so once the sun has set, and what they will do is they'll return in a group. So instead of one penguin just hopping onto the beach by himself, they'll run in as a group just for a matter of safety in numbers, so they can, as they're all coming out together, they can all keep their eyes on predators. And what they call a group of penguins out in the wild travelling together is a raft. Alrighty guys, if you do have any more questions, feel free to stick around. Bianca and I are just going to keep feeding them, make sure that we've fed all of them, and we'll just tidy up in here. So feel free to stick around if you do have any questions. Otherwise, thank you all for sticking around at Penguin Point, and I hope that you've all enjoyed your day here at Seaworld. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
They can tell their names from like a distance.